Welcome to the Sacred Wild. This is our communal gathering where we get to walk through the ways of being and the initiations together as a community. Today is July 8th, 2025, and we are walking into the exploration of the liberated way of being, as well as walking into the initiation of creation. We've walked through the prepared way of being, knowing that we in this life are worthy of being prepared and being prepared for. We've walked through the safety way of being, coming to an understanding that we are valuable and worthy of being kept safe. We have walked through the freedom way of being, understanding that we are already free and practicing embodying that. Those ways of being were the initiation of intention, of medicine, of walking with purpose. Now we're being invited into the initiation of creation, walking in purpose. What is it to embody our purpose, our medicine? What does it look like to embody our medicine? And so this starts off with the liberated way of being. In the Sacred Wild, we have 6 core practices, and that's the structure, the framework of our gathering today. And so we start off with movement, embodying our message, our medicine. And I will play 2 songs from the Liberated Way of Being playlist. And with this, we allow ourselves to move and be moved by the energy of what it is to be liberated. Next, we walk into our next core practice of prayer, opening the channels of communication with spirit, allowing ourselves to express to the infinite, whatever is meant to be expressed. And so I will open up my channel into a prayer and then leave space at the end for you to offer your own prayer, whether that be out loud or it stays within. The energy is all given. Next, we walk into our core practice of meditation, being with the infinite, being with spirit. With this, I will set a timer for 10 minutes. I will manage the time, and in that we can be with spirit however we so please. There is no right or wrong way to be with spirit. After that, we go into our next culmination of our 3 core practices that are left. And that's the core practice of contemplation, listening to the infinite. Our core practice of expression. What is our message? What is our medicine? What medicine is here in this way of being, in this initiation for us? And then the medicine, the core practice of witnessing, allowing ourselves to be seen and heard and witnessed in our medicine, and allowing ourselves to see, hear, and witness others in their medicine. In this last culmination of 3 core practices, I will open up my channel and share what's alive for me in this way of being, in this exploration of the liberated way of being. And then normally we open it up to the round table, because this is where differences are celebrated. Differences are what allow us to receive and see a more widened, expanded vision and perception and experience of the world. It is just me tonight. So we will end after I'm done with my channel, unless anybody hops on in the in-between. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And just a little piece. I know at some point there aren't going to be any times when it is just me in this space. And the Sacred Wild has taught me a lot with this. And an expression of the liberated way of being is that this experience doesn't mean any more or less to me, whether it's me and one person, or me and 1,000 people. And walking through the medicine of starting the Sacred Wild and learning that it is not necessarily me that is creating it, but it is me that has allowed myself, has done the work to be an open vessel for this medicine to come through. And that is another expression of liberation, of being that clean, clear vessel to where I allow myself to be used in whatever way is fit, where, in liberation, and I'm not going to go too far into this, I'll save it for our round table of one. But in liberation, for a very long time, really honestly, up until yesterday, let's be real, let's be honest. Liberation for me was something that was very lonely, something that I felt or thought that it had to be done alone, and that it meant that it closed off from connections. But the truth is that liberation, walking the liberated way, it allows our connections to exist, to deepen. It allows us to truly not only serve others, but be served by others. Because in this space of liberation, we are giving ourselves what we need. We are naming our worth and not depending on anyone or anything else to determine that for us. We determine what's in integrity for us. And we also get to choose. We choose to lean into something outside of us or within us, whether that be spirit, God, universe, whether that be a guru, a teacher, a coach, a guide, whether that be your tribe, whether that be your church or your community or your family. Liberation is not about not taking in anything from the outside world. Liberation is about discernment and choice. Knowing that I am choosing this. I am choosing to receive. I am choosing to connect. I am choosing to give myself. And that's the space in which I hold this space and I offer what comes from me. And it's not always easy. There are times where I feel lost and like it just doesn't matter. And so from that place, I choose to not be here, to not hold this space. And I always come back to here, where this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to do. And it's that space of liberation where it doesn't matter if it's one or many that is here. Because I know that this is me. And I begin unweaving the attachments and the cords that I have to the conditions I had on my purpose. This can only be my purpose if X amount of people show up. This can only be my purpose if I'm serving 50 people. This can only be my purpose if I have this many likes or this many shares or this many comments. And the more we walk in the liberated way, the less conditions that we have on our worth, on our purpose, on our medicine, on why we are meant to be here, on who we are. So let's embody that. Let's let that step into us, seep into us, sink into our bones, into our blood, into our muscles, into our limbs, into our body as we step into this movement practice. I have 2 songs lined up. The first song is In My Body by Bonnie Medicine. And I think that was one of the most profoundly liberating experiences I had, was becoming home in my body, becoming my own home, feeling at home in my body, not like an outsider, not like I'm in a cage or a prison, but home. And then the next song is Reclamation by Lotus Sky. And this is a new song to me. And it's just so filled with this fire with this. It's like we are stomping on the ground and yelling into the sky, giving praise for this beautiful gift that we are given to be here, walk this life. We get to be here now. We get to live this life. We get to breathe this air. We get to be here now. That is not something that everybody gets. And we get to be here now, and we get to serve others on their journey to being here now. And when they get here, we get to say, welcome home. And so as I play this music, just allow yourself to move and be moved by the energy of what it is to be liberated.
When I am home, home in my body, I will be home, no longer lonely. When I am home, home on this earth, I will be whole unto myself. I am home on this earth that the mother gave to me. I am home in the river, I am home in the trees. I am home when I feel the breeze blowing through my hair. And I will stand on the mountain, I will howl to the moon. I will hear the call of my sisters of the womb. I will hear their songs singing through me. They say when you are home, home in your body, you will be whole, no longer lonely. When you are home on this earth, you will be whole unto yourself. So I bring myself back in devotion to the earth. Well, I sing of death and I sing of birth, singing I am never alone when I'm with her. And I will stand on the mountain, I will sing to the sun. I will bring the voices of my ancestors out. They will use my voice to remind me when I am home, home in my body, I will be home, no longer lonely. When I am home, home on this earth, I will be whole unto myself. old to rest. Shed my fear and shed the past. Reborn of the sacred land. I awaken to my truth. Know just what my powers do. I will use them to do good. Feel the force, a change afoot. Voices of the motherland move through me and give me strength. Ancestors tell me I am beautiful and sovereign. Spirit of the land and sea, sing to me pure harmonies. Cosmic sky and earth beneath, tell me I am always free. Wana kuna na mitway I way, wana karuna kalina I way, wana kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way. Wana kuna na mitway I way, wana karuna kalina I way, wana kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way. And buried all the old to rest. Shed my fear and shed the past. Reborn of the sacred land. I awaken to my truth. Know just what my love can do. I will use it to do good. Feel the force to change afoot. Voices of the motherland move through me and give me strength. Ancestors tell me I am beautiful and sovereign. Spirit of the land and sea, sing to me pure harmonies. Cosmic sky and earth beneath, tell me I am always free. I'm the master of the night, warrior of the light, calling earth in cosmic tribes. We are all incarnate guides, standing in unity. Remember our divinity, love vibration, conscious nation. Here it comes, the reclamation. Wanna kuna na mitway I way, wanna karuna galina I way, wanna kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way, wanna kuna na mitway I way, wanna karuna galina I way, wanna kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way. Ito ng mandirigma, ising na tumayo ka, pag-ibig mo ay buhagin ng lahat ng ilusyon. Espiritu ng mandirigma, ising na tumayo ka, pag-ibig mo ay buhagin ng lahat ng ilusyon. Wala na pula sa palamunang kahitulagan, nakaayuan ang kayan na, ay karangyo na sa tapulang kinabunong kahibubang baka-ayuwa-ayuwa, ay karangyo na sa tapalang kinabunong kumakalakan na kung nananayala, ay karangyo na magayala, wala na sa tapulang kayala, wala kuna na mitway I way, wana karuna galina I way, wana kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way, wana kuna na mitway I way, wana karuna galina I way, wana kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way, wana kuna na mitway I way, wana karuna galina I way, wana kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way, wana kuna na mitway I way, wana karuna galina I way, wana kuna na mitway I way, kira sa kanturo kura kway way.
Bring ourselves back. Ah, let out the noise, shake it out, yell, scream, whatever you are being called to do. This is our time of prayer. You cannot express yourself to spirit in a way that spirit doesn't know already exists, because it's the infinite. It is everything. So let's liberate ourselves in this prayer that we have, this space in which we get to communicate to spirit. Yes, we can pray to you with bowed heads and hands together at our heart. And we can also pray to you when we are yelling and screaming and on our hands and knees crying because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Prayer isn't just the time that we set aside to kneel and bow in reverence. Prayer is this life that we live. There is nothing that is not prayer. Breathe into that. I am scared. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do it. I don't know if I can. I don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know what I'm meant to do. These are all prayers that I have cried from the pit of my stomach, from the womb, from my wounds. These are all prayers that I know each of us have within us, whether we speak them out loud or bottle them up. They are there. The holy and the broken hallelujahs are still a hallelujah. Sitting in silence is a prayer. Prayer doesn't need words. From this space of freedom that we have given ourselves, showing us that we are so fucking free. Who do we choose to be? Spirit, God, universe, source, self. We are asking to be shown what it is to be liberated. Liberated from the external world, hell, liberated from ourselves, our mind, liberated from the stories that we've held for so fucking long. Show us that liberation doesn't just mean breaking the shackles and tearing away, breaking free. It's not just the hear me roar. It's also the receiving. Choosing to know I am worthy. Choosing to know I am valuable. Choosing to know I am safe. Choosing to know that I am you. Not because you tell me, but because I know. Spirit, show us how to liberate our love. Show us how to liberate our love. Let's liberate that sentence. Show us how to liberate love. To walk in love, to be love. Always. Because that's who I choose to be. Help us break away the conditions we have on what allows us to show up in love. Spirit, teach us that love exists always and in all ways. Spirit, show us that we get to choose love, regardless of whether or not others do. Spirit, show us that our love isn't lessened when it's not received. Show us that we're not meant to give up when we're all alone. Spirit, show us what liberation is. Show us each step, each next step. That's all we ask. Spirit, show us how to choose to stand in integrity in the darkness when nobody's looking, behind closed doors, when it's not being broadcasted across the social media platforms. Show us how to liberate who we desire to be every day, to be that every day, not just at the retreats or on these calls. Spirit, show us how to liberate our dreams. Show us how miracles are natural and fairy tales are normal and dreams are real. Spirit, show us what liberation is. We come to you here and now, open to the idea that we have just barely brushed a microscopic portion of the surface of what liberation is. Spirit, show us what the medicine is here. We are here, we are open, we are ready, we are willing. Going to leave some space for you to offer your own words or energy. Internally, externally, it is all shared just the same. Spirit, for this life, for this love, and for so much more, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we give ourselves time to sit in this beautiful energy, this portal that we have opened. After our 10 minutes is complete, I will bring us back to this sacred space. Enjoy your time. Mm. You continue breathing in the essence of the infinite. Allow yourselves to begin to feel yourself in your body. You can feel your fingers and your toes, your feet and your hands. Maybe you begin moving your legs or your arms around a little bit. You can feel your torso. Perhaps you start rolling your head back and forth. And feel your face. Maybe bring your lips into a smile. And in your own divine timing, at your own authentic pace, feel free to open your eyes and come back to this sacred space. Ah. Hmm. The liberated way of being. You know, oftentimes I like to think that I know what things are. Like I get comfortable in the space of knowing what things are and what they mean. And at the beginning of every way of being in this exploration space, that gets all jumbled. Like in the prayer that I was offering right now, there's like a question mark after everything. Like, is that what it is to be liberated? But what about this? This is being liberated too. And that's the piece with these ways of being is that they're infinite in nature. They are cyclical. They are a spiral that simultaneously goes down deeper, goes up higher, goes in and expands out, and in all the other directions that I don't know. It's letting go of this right way and this wrong way. It's that space of letting go of the idea that I know what anything is. I had a dear brother of mine celebrate me for saying that I don't have the answers. And I think over these past couple of years, learning how to be comfortable not only in not knowing, but also sharing that I don't know has been one of the most impactful journeys of liberation that I've had. Um, and when I say I don't know, it's a all encompassing I don't know, meaning like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And it used to scare me to say that, to even think that, to even, look at that part of me of that I don't know what I'm doing. Because I mean, who wants that in their life? Who wants somebody in their life that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing? Who is going to choose to do any coaching or have me as their guide or anything like that if I don't know what I'm doing? And that's not to say that I'm walking blindly in this life, even though I kind of am. I do have experience and trainings and certifications and my life that I've had. And, you know, I have come across what feels comfortable, what feels aligned, what feels impactful, what feels in integrity for me. And I've come across what doesn't. And those things shift all over the place. But for me, I don't know has been a point of liberation. It's also been this invitation into curiosity. Because when we allow ourselves to be liberated from knowing, to take off that coat or that hat or that mask of knowing the answer. And then we open the invitation of curiosity and adventure and exploration. We become this blank canvas in which the infinite gets to paint, gets to go through this empty vessel, this hollow bone. It's a term I've heard a lot over the last couple of years, a hollow bone. And then I ask, what is the difference between freedom and liberation? And to me, freedom is this understanding that we are free to do whatever it is that we want, to be whoever it is that we want. We release these fears or these beliefs or identities and stories that cage us and restrict us and that don't support liberation. Liberation is the question, who do you choose to be? What life do you choose to live? What reflection do you choose to hold? What medicine do you choose to share? Liberation to me is the power of choice and discernment. Now, a lot of these are words that everybody has different definitions for, and that these definitions change over time, right? What is discernment? And for me, discernment is awareness, being able to identify what I've clumped into one thing and being able to expand and not separate, but be able to expand into this wider experience of and ability to know something more intimately. And choice. You know, I'll have a preparation guide or a preparation guide. A guidebook for this call here in a little bit, later on tonight, hopefully, maybe. But as I'm going through creating it, it's it's coming into this awareness that so many of us, and I say us because myself included, it is easier for us to give our power to somebody or something else than it is for us to take accountability for who we are and the life that we're living. Because in liberation, there's ownership. There's accountability here. Because if I'm walking as a liberated being, meaning that I get to choose who I be, then that also means that I must take accountability when I am not happy with who I am. That is me. That made the choices that led to that. Means I must come face to face with the reality that if I am not happy with the life I am living, then I chose that. And to change it, I must choose different. Friendly reminder that there is no right or wrong here. There's what feels good and what doesn't. There's preference. There's discernment. There's alignment and not in alignment. I still haven't figured out what word I like for the not in alignment piece. So But so often we say, well, my job or my boss or my wife or my husband or my kids or my landlord or the government or they. We don't even have to put a label on it. We just say they and them. Well, I have to because of what they did. I have to because of this. Well, I don't have a choice because of this. I still do that. I saw myself sit up a little straighter when I said that because it's very vulnerable for me. I like to think that I am the perfect vision of what it is to walk in the liberated way of being, and I am not. This is why I'm here. Not because I have all the answers and I know what to do, but because I don't. And gets to be a practice. But what happens when I stop giving my power to, I don't know, my boss, my job, saying that I don't have enough money because my job isn't paying me enough? And I start saying instead, I want to receive more money. What can I do? Then all of a sudden, it's not this closed door, but this open portal. It's not this closed, crunched off thing where I can't do anything. It's this open, I'm ready to receive. I'm open. I'm curious. Show me. Show me the way. And in that, you just liberated yourself from a whole lot of things. You liberated yourself from the story that you believed you were living and you could only live. You liberated yourself from the life that you're living, your power to choose to change it and to receive wisdom and guiding you into the next step. You liberated yourself from beliefs and identities that you had been living in. Now, another piece why we don't choose liberation is because we don't know what the fuck else to do other than what we've been doing our entire goddamn lives. You know, there's a couple of things here, a couple of stories that come to my mind around liberation. And one is the story that I know I've shared many times about my children and how I was a parent. And for the first 6 years of being a parent, I parented the way in which I was parented, which was by a dad who abandoned me at 1, well, and then again at 10 or 11, by a stepdad who physically abused me, and by an alcoholic mother who emotionally and verbally and mentally abused me. So, needless to say, even when I was trying to do better than they did, it still was not great. And there was a moment where my kids were crying on the floor because I was being an asshole to them. Again, my daughter was 6 and my son was 3. And then I just saw the 5-year-old Jen laying on the floor with them crying too. And in that moment, I knew I wasn't going to be that parent anymore. I was never going to do that again. But I also didn't know what the fuck to do. And so it was really scary and really fucking hard because I didn't know how else to be. And so I just naturally went back to what I was used to over and over and over again until I practiced it enough and it became a new way of being. And now being that way doesn't even register in my being anymore. And so we choose to not liberate ourselves from the life that we're unhappy with and the person that we are unhappy with being because we don't know how to be any other way. But again, the power of I don't know doesn't mean you can't. Just means you get to go on an adventure, you get to explore, you get to get curious, and you get to dream up who you do want to be. It can be so easy to say, I don't want to be this anymore. Great, then who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Those are just as important as what you don't want. It's not that one is better than the other. It is important for us to have the thing that we are moving away from and the thing we are moving towards. Both are just as important as the other. And so if you're going one way or another, then ask yourself the other question. Oh, I want to be this. What don't I want to be? Great. Because that can highlight something that you may be embodying right now that you aren't aware of. There's another piece, that this other story that's coming to me in liberation. Because liberation to me is also no longer allowing the outside world to define who I am, what I do, and how I show up. And that can be really hard to navigate in relationships sometimes. And so, me being the extremist that I am, my last relationship a few years ago was an open relationship. And, we, neither one of us knew what the hell we were doing, and we learned a lot. But the story that's coming to my mind is there was, a boundary that my partner at the time came upon, and was that a boundary for me is that I don't feel comfortable with you dating anybody that is a friend of mine that is, in my life. It needs to be somebody that I don't know. And so I was like, absolutely. Well, he went to an ayahuasca ceremony and he had met this woman. And it was a woman that I knew. I had journeyed with her. We had conversations. She was a beautiful, beautiful soul. And he started telling me about her. And he instantly assumed that meant that he couldn't date her. But for me, that wasn't a boundary for me. And it was really interesting to watch him kind of take that in, because I was celebrating him. I was, you know, um, I was saying, yes, yes, get to know her. She's an amazing human. That would be amazing, for you two to connect. And, if it ends up in a romantic relationship, that would be amazing, and he was just like, what? He just couldn't understand, because he assumed since he had that boundary for me that I automatically had that boundary for him, but I didn't. And so, like, boundaries and all of these things, they're unique to the individual, right? And so he ended up having a romantic relationship with her, and it was beautiful. She was the partner that he was with when we ended our relationship. And in that, it was just such a breath of fresh air to be able to embody that, right? So in that, yes, I could have said, okay, well, because you have that boundary, that's a boundary for both of us, right? But it wasn't a boundary for me. And so I was able to say that, and we were able to walk through this beautiful space of what it is to be liberated from each other's boundaries, right? My boundaries are going to be different than yours, and yours are going to be different than mine. And allowing us to navigate that, I think, is beautiful. And so that's another piece of liberation. Just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that that's for you either, or you too. You get to sit with that. Like I always say with this, it's a buffet. Taste things. Feel into that flavor. Does it feel good? Does it feel aligned? Does it not? If it does, take it in. Take it all in. Take it, share it, do whatever it is you want with it. And if it doesn't, just leave it on the table. Leave it on the table. What I'm sharing is because of my journey, not yours. This is what I've cultivated through my journey, and that's why I love the aspect of the round table, because I want to be able to learn and grow and expand. And that involves opening up and taking in other people's experiences and perceptions and wisdom. Mm. Liberating ourselves from the have tos, being able to step into the get tos. Mm. There's another story, but that's kind of flown the coop right now, so it's not meant to happen. The other piece to this that I really want to touch on is that liberation does not mean aloneness or doing it on your own. In fact, it's in liberation that we actually get to connect. And oftentimes, I think we mistake attachment for connection. We mistake codependency for friendship, relationship. And when we liberate ourselves in relation to others, that means I don't need you to be a certain way. I don't need you to show me that I am worthy because I already know I am worthy on my own. And if you treat me as unworthy, there is a boundary there. It's about how we come to these things. Because my life throughout this journey, it really doesn't look much different than it did. But everything is different. Like, not much has changed, is what I'm saying. But everything is different. The people in my life I choose to have in my life. The way people treat me, I choose to allow to happen. And in that, if something happens and I'm treated as less than sacred and secure and safe and free, then I get to name that and I get to make a decision. I get to make a choice on whether or not I will continue allowing that person into my life. Same thing with a job and receiving money and my children and my home. Everything is a choice. It is not a requirement. You are not required to be in my life, and I am not required to be in your life. And that can be really fucking scary because we want that requirement. I mean, right? It's why we sign contracts. It's why we get married. It's why we do sign leases. We want to know that you will be here in the future. We want to know that this will be here in a year for the rest of my life, as long as we both shall live. Whatever the length of time that contract is for, we have this deep desire to need to know that this will last. And please don't get me wrong. I value contracts. I value marriage. But when we start depending on that piece of paper to be our decision maker instead of our internal guidance, allowing us our sovereign choice to be here, we lose the presence. We lose the awareness that I'm choosing to be here. I don't have to be here. We can lose sight that this is all a gift that we are receiving, not a burden we must carry. And so in that, we have our questions. Who do you want to be? Who do I want to be? What life do I want to live? What medicine do I want to share? What reflection do I want to hold? And so, my friends, I would love to hear your thoughts on what it is to be liberated, to hear your explorations and expressions on what liberation is to you, because this is just one microscopic version of what it could be. Feel free to share your expressions in the community. I will be sharing the guidebook later on tonight. And that feels like I am complete. And so, in the sacred wild way, on the count of 3, we howl to close the space. 1, 2, 3. Ow!